I'm vengeance.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Mark 101 of the Super Civil Servants podcast. My name is Greg, the Bad Daddy 52. And if everybody listening last week, my wife's okay. Just a little cut, a few stitches, some antibiotics. She'll be all right.
So, it was just the shock of it all, which, exactly. It shocked all of us, too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, very much so. Yeah, it's one of those things you just immediately drop what you're doing and go. So I appreciate everybody who understood. Yeah, had a good time, but we're back. So we got some fun stuff this week, I think tonight it's just going to be me and Joe. Joe's with us, or with me. And, Joe, I was thinking about it. If I was giving you a superhero name, I'd probably call you the Librarian. So you're with me.
I'll take it.
You got all that behind you. So I would think of that'd be your name, but your powers would be more like, is it Ebony Maw, the guy from Infinity War? The telepath? Yeah. That's how I'd picture it. So there you go. Because knowledge is power. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm not too shabby. Actually was back at work this week, and now I'm off of work again for a week. But other than that, just kind of relaxing as much as I can. Like, it was one of those things this week with work where, yes, I was happy to be back and doing structure. But then when they announced that we were going to be off again, I'm just like, okay, like I'm fine. I need breaks, but I don't really have anything planned. Like, I'm going to clean the garage, and that's going to be my big plan for this next week. Oh, actually, no. I know what I'm doing. So this is something coming up from months ago. I know I talked about it on a movie review for, I think Marvel Alliance way back when. But maybe I was telling you my druggy neighbors and how their house burnt down?
I don't think you were telling me about it.
Okay, cool. So, the weekend of Zack Snyder's Justice League hit.
Okay.
My neighbor's house caught on fire. Now, everybody's safe. Everybody's fine. The thing is, these guys we called it the drug house because people would show up for 5 minutes and then leave. All the time. So...
Multiple times a day. Yeah.
Yes. For about 3 years straight. We pretty much knew what kind of house that was. People themselves, we didn't talk to them. Whatever. So long story short, for how the house burned down, they had their power shut off because they were stealing electricity because they weren't paying their bill. So power got shut off. They then ran a generator all winter long, and toward the end, the week before, leading up to the fire breaking out, the generator sounded like shit, and it was pretty obvious. And so the generator caught fire, and they had it sitting next to the house, which, first off, it shouldn't do.
Right.
For reasons like this. Generator caught fire, caught the house on fire, total loss. It's been sitting since March. The update we got the other day was, as of Monday, allegedly, they're going to bulldoze the house. The city is coming in, just making it into a lot, and then that eyesore of a husk of a house is going to be gone, and we are actually kind of happy.
Oh, I bet so, man. Yeah, like when we moved into this house we have here, there's an abandoned house beside us. It's old and run down and beat up. Nobody lives in. It's on this property used to be owned by one person, all this land, and we have a lot of it now. So, and that was one of the stipulations we had for the seller whenever we bought the house. They had to put a privacy fence up blocking that house because the town won't do anything about it because the neighbors on that land.
And they just don't want to sell it, or they just don't want to do anything with it?
It needs to be destroyed. It's old, it's beat up, it's broken down. Like, it's just, and they just don't do anything with it. I don't know. It's just her by herself. So yeah.
Okay. But, I mean, if nothing, just tear it down and make it just a patch of grass.
Right.
I had my co-host for Comic Book Rundown, Ron, my best friend. When he was married, he had he had this lot. Well, the house next to him on the left, I don't think it burnt down, but something happened and the lot came up for cheap. So they bought it, bulldozed that property, and they had a bigger yard.
Mm.
And then on the house on the right, that went into foreclosure. They wanted to buy it, but then I think they got a divorce, and so that just never came about.
Right.
And then years later, his ex-wife still lived there, and that house also caught on fire. They sadly lost a couple of their pets, but other than that, it sucks too because their one dog, who died from the fire, let them know. It was like middle of the night. Let them know, was barking, whining, got them up, woke them up. Otherwise, they would have perished in the fire too.
Yeah.
So
that does suck.
It sucks tremendously because he was a good dog, but at least he was able to do, in the end there, save her life, and which, yeah, sorry. Not trying to bring not trying to bring the show down at all.
Yeah, I get it. No, you're good. Yeah, man. I mean, stuff like that happens. It sucks.
It does. It's a yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you want to get started on some show talk here?
Sure.
Wait, let's. You want to do Bad Batch, or let's do Bad Batch first?
Yes, we can get through that one quick.
Okay, let's do Bad Batch here. So, penultimate episode 15. Just right off the bat for me, this episode was clicking for me. It was exciting. I was anxious to see what was going to happen next.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little upset with the way things ended in this episode.
Oh, yeah?
I've got some questions. But all in all, it looks like it's setting up for a pretty good finale.
Yes.
So, we just got verified for season 2, correct?
Yep. Earlier this week, they announced season 2 is coming out in sometime next year in 2022.
Right. So that changes my mindset on how this season could possibly end.
Well, and I assumed they were going to have a second season anyway. Like,
yeah.
But I shouldn't assume though, because the show is on Disney Plus and it has the people that are obviously people are watching it. I can't assume one thing because there are shows that actually have, especially on the streaming, that have the viewers that don't get a second season. It's just really in all how they play it all.
Yeah,
but
look at Jupiter Rising. They didn't get a second season.
Exactly.
Plus, but it was a great show.
But
didn't get a second season.
I really loved it. I was really looking forward to how the second season would play it out. But nope. Yep. But no, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. These last couple episodes, I'm not gonna say they blurred together, but I just lost the episode count. I totally didn't realize this was episode 15. I thought this was like 13 or 14. I thought we still had like 3 or 4 episodes left.
Yeah.
And then I see it.
I was right there with you going through the whole season. I think when I got to about episode 13 to 14, that's when I started to realize, okay, I need to keep count. We're about to be at the end. I know it's getting close. But before that, it was just kind of like I couldn't remember what episode it was. It all kind of ran together, and a lot of them were kind of fillers anyway.
Yeah, a lot of the middle ones were just they're going on a fun adventure to get money for whatever.
Adventure of the week,
yeah, basically. And then it's like I think last week when they had Gregor show up, that was kind of fun. But yeah, this one was interesting. Obviously, the end of last week, Hunter got captured by Crosshair, and this one they take him back to Camino, and to see Camino be emptied like it was hollowing.
Right?
It's harrowing. That's the word, hollowing. Sorry.
Well, like I said, this episode kind of kept me on my toes. There was not a lot I could predict other than I knew that whatever they did, Crosshair was going to be there waiting for him, which, they should have expected. They even said in the episode, we'll go this way. And nobody knows the way, the tunnels are going to go. I was like, come on, dude. Or whenever they went up and they were like, well, instead of going in the front door, we'll go in the elevator, like the front door, like he'd expect. And I was like, really? He was like on a tactical team with you, but he really expect you to go through the front door?
I fully expected him to be standing there with a gun pointing at them, which he was.
100%. And this episode answered a lot of questions because he's been kind of in the background bad guy for the whole season, but you get a little more of his psyche about what's going on. You learn that he has he got rid of the chip a long time ago.
That's what he says. I'm thinking, and I told Emily, that's my girlfriend, I'm thinking it was when the rest of the Bad Batch got theirs out on that planet. I think that's when he was already there. The equipment was there. I think he did it to himself.
Yeah.
And that's when I think it happened. Especially since I think in that episode he got badly injured, badly damaged, so that you saw the little scars on his head.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think that's when he did
it. That's a very good point. That could be. But this episode fell right into the trap that I hate when they do with villains, is whenever the villain gets defeated by being talked down. Is I don't like talking down the villain to beat him.
Well, but they didn't really talk him down. I mean, he has they're thinking he's operating from the inhibitor chip. He proves, no, I took that out a long time ago. And he still talked to him. He still has the same mindset. And they're trying, you are correct. They're trying to talk him down, but it doesn't happen. So, yes, they are going to do a second season.
Yeah, confirmed. I think it was yesterday. I think they confirmed that. So,
yesterday or Wednesday. I can't remember which. Yeah. But yeah, a second season coming in 2022. I'm assuming early, but no, probably mid. Probably another.
Yeah, I imagine around the same time. It might. They're doing like a year between these shows. A lot of them. So, but
yeah, you're right. They did try to talk him down, but he pulled a gun on Hunter again, even though Hunter already has gun trained on him. Like, he was like, "You guys aren't changing, so I guess I gotta go through you." And that's when Hunter stunned him.
Well, the kind of mindset I got, and that was very anticlimactic, by the way.
Yeah, like a little bit.
I was like, oh, that kind of sucked. There was no action to that at all. It was just, you move, get shot.
Let's see what happens on the next episode, because
that's why.
I could definitely see him waking up and not being happy that he's still alive. I mean, I'm sure he's going to be happy he's still alive, but he's definitely going to be in like a position of being in a brig of some sort,
Well, I don't know what they're going to be in, because they're still alive, but here's my crazy thing about the end is, at the end, they're running out of the building that's being shot by those Star Destroyers. And instead of continuing to run out, even though I know there's blaster fire coming out, and they decide to run back into the building that's being destroyed. And I was like, I don't understand the mindset of that.
All of them are being destroyed. The problem is that they were going they're trying to get back to the lift to get that tunnel back to their plane, or to their starship. As they got outside, the walkway got destroyed. So there's no way to get to that lift to get to the ship. So my thinking is, Omega did say that there are secret tunnels all over Kamino. So
they're underwater too, so they're probably unknown.
Correct. The only problem is that you are correct. The building they're in is being shot at. All the buildings are being destroyed. It's going to be trying to get to those tunnels and getting to those the whatever the hell they were called, to get to their ship. Like, that's going to be the issue.
Right. Yeah, that's going to be obviously where they start out next week, because where it ended this week was the building that shot down. I'm sure it's just going to be like watching one episode. It's going to walk right into what's going on.
Oh yeah.
We did get a little bit of, like I said, we were getting a little bit of Crosshair's psyche in this one, and what I kind of picked up on was, and he mentioned this, he's like, if I wanted you dead, you would be already.
Yep.
The entire time, he's not trying to kill them. This entire season, he's not trying to kill them. He's trying to turn them.
I think earlier on he was trying to kill them. I think
maybe before the chip got taken out.
Yep. Just proves that the minute he got his chip out, he wants to get his brothers back.
Right, because, but he still feels betrayed.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah.
Which I kind of get to a certain extent, feeling a little betrayed because you got left behind. But at the same time, like Hunter said, you were trying to kill us.
At that moment, yes. And then every other time they ran into him, he was trying to kill him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, you can't really be too upset with him about that. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's...
Omega finally had an actual great purpose in this episode. Whenever they came...
You've been a stickler on that.
Oh, man, I've been waiting for it.
Yeah. She's been kind of just there with very little help for the longest time. Yeah. Although, earlier on, she helped Hunter out with the one spider creatures in, the second or the third episode.
She's had little things here and there.
Yeah, it hasn't been a big old like. This episode proved that she doesn't have to be the, oh, you're in trouble, go hide.
Mm-hmm. Because no, good. I was gonna say, I think all the times before it was just kind of happenstance. Like she just happened to be there, and it was great that she was there to be able to do that. This is the first time I think they really had to trust her and rely on her knowledge, and she's the one who's going to get them to where they need to be. You know, like it was a real meaningful purpose for her to be there. And I was like, okay. And we also learned that she was there when they were created. We got a 99 reference, which was pretty cool. She was there when, and she was there when all of them were created, which means she's older than all of them.
Yes. When it was said in the beginning, and I didn't put this together right away, but her and Boba were the only two unaltered clones. So if they are roughly 10 years old, and Bad Batch was, say, probably sometime in, I don't know, year 2.5, 3 of the war is when they were created, then yeah, she definitely would be older. No. She would be right there with Boba, being same age, being the oldest clones that are still probably alive.
Yeah. I think it's funny that they mentioned that, but they didn't really touch on it very much.
Yeah, they didn't dive into it.
Yeah, like it just kind of mentioned it and then brushed over, and they continue and they move on. I'm like, well, are they going to come back to that? Because that seems like some pretty important information.
Oh, yeah. One thing that Emily and I talk about a lot with anything Star Wars related anymore, especially the cartoons, the animated stuff. This is the Filoni-verse. This is Dave Filoni at his best. He doesn't put random things in. That line will become important down the road. The episodes with Hera, where they're rescuing her from Ryloth, as filler as they seem, this could play a big part. Like, Cham will come back probably in season 2 with a big old army. Like, anything Dave Filoni does, it's for a purpose. We may not see it now, but in the long run, we'll see it.
Yeah, that makes sense. We didn't maybe see it in the finale, but it may be something they're setting up for in season 2, which is really good writing. I know I've heard Ryloth at least 75 times in the last 3 episodes. So so it's going to be a big part in what's going on.
I think it's going to, it already was, but it's going to be back more than likely.
Yeah. So do you think this is going to walk us right into like Rebels?
So Rebels takes place it was 17 years after. Rebels takes place about 3 years before, what was it? A New Hope. See, and he doesn't. Yes.
Ross, you're going to elaborate on that for me.
Yeah, he says,
he doesn't want to paint himself into a corner with too much info.
Unless he's talking about
Crosshair.
Crosshair.
Could be. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't think it's going to go right up into Rebels. I think we'll see more character. Well, no, because we already saw Kanan in episode 1. Oh, Filoni. Yes, definitely. Yeah. Correct.
There you go.
Yes, he doesn't. I don't know. Maybe not.
I mean, like I said, I'm not sure of the timeline. Honestly,
Rebels takes place about 3 years, give or take. Like the beginning of Rebels takes place about 3 years before A New Hope, and then this takes place immediately after Revenge of the Sith. Obviously, because Order 66. So we've got about a 17-year gap between Bad Batch and Rebels. Now, like I said, they could pop up characters. Obviously, we had Hera, we had Kanan, or Caleb Dune in the first episode. So I'm not saying they can't have more. I don't think we'll be seeing like Baby Ezra or anything, but maybe
we may just
we'll
get
see
17 seasons of Bad Batch.
If we do that, that's fine. Well,
17 seasons of Bad Batch. Yeah.
If anything, they'll just like from season 1 to 2 or 2 to 3, they'll just jump forward like 5 years. They'll do the anime.
I'm sure it's going to be the case.
They'll do the anime thing and just have a time skip.
So if they do that, Omega doesn't grow, right? Because she's obviously
she grows at a normal pace versus the Bad Batch, which would grow at an accelerated pace. So she'll go from 10 to 15. They'll go from 30 to 30 or to 40.
Okay. Look, Tony says 17 seems a wrecker. I'm in. Yeah.
Why not, Tony?
Yeah. And he says, and Kevin says they show a young 8-year-old Luke Skywalker in Rebels.
Okay. Was he 8?
I haven't seen Rebels yet.
Was he 8? I don't. He was young. Yes. Oh, that episode. That was a great episode.
I've got to watch Rebels.
You have to watch Rebels.
I've got to watch Rebels.
It's such an amazing show, Greg.
Well, see, I've dove into the Star Wars books, man, and like I'm just loving these even to the point where like if I'm sitting at home, I'll just lay down in bed and put an audiobook in and lay down, close my eyes and listen to a book. Man, it's so great. Nathan says, what's up? I am 1 hour away from finishing.
Baby, Nathan.
Happy baby, Nathan. Yes, definitely. Taking the evening off to cuddle with the bundle of joy.
Yes.
Which is awesome. Congratulations, sir.
Yes. You're 1 hour away from what? Finishing.
I'm 1 hour away from finishing Path of Destruction, and then I'm going to start Rule of 2. So, and then after I finish the Bane trilogy, I'm going to get into the Revan book because now I've got to get into the Revan book after this Bane trilogy. I probably should have done that first. And then I've got a Plagueis book to read. And then after that, I'm out of Star Wars book. Well, no, that's not true. I have all of the new High Republic books, but I just haven't really gotten into them because they didn't really interest me that much.
Have you done the Thrawn trilogy yet? The new Thrawn trilogy? Yes.
Yeah,
that was good. I haven't done the like the Ascendancy and all that. Of course, yeah. I don't know if it gets hate, but
I don't hear a lot of hate for Rebels.
Well, okay, let me rephrase that because I remember because I loved Clone Wars so much that when they said that they were canceling it, and mind you, they canceled it because Disney bought Lucasfilm and Clone Wars was coming out on Cartoon Network, which is not a Disney affiliate yet. So makes sense. It was one of those things where I'm like, okay, well, they're ending this. I'm not sure if I want to watch the new thing when it comes out, but I probably will because it's Star Wars.
It's Star Wars. It's pizza.
So exactly. So the first maybe half of the first season, I'm like, well, this show's fine, but I'm not like super thrilled about it. But I'll keep watching it because it's pizza. And then it was about season 2 when I'm like, oh, this show's amazing. I'm all in.
Yeah.
It's just,
and I think that's the way you got to kind of go with these things is you got to kind of give yourself to it and give it a chance and watch it through. Exactly. Because I know you were talking about your movie process. When we get to Suicide Squad, we'll talk about that, which is a great process, and it's kind of the way I look at it too. But I may be a little more judgmental in my first viewings. But you got to give these things
because like obviously not, and this was pre-pandemic, and I see. I still need to read Revenant. I haven't. I just haven't read it yet. Pre-pandemic, I would go see a movie twice before I. Well, you know what? We'll get into that. We'll get into that when we start talking about the movies. We're still talking about Star Wars.
Yeah. Nathan has a comment here. He says, "I think Luke was 14-ish, which is a far stretch from 8."
So was it 5 years? See, I thought it was 3. So he would know better.
Y'all are the experts on this. Yeah. So I trust his judgment.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, this episode had it going for me a little better. Maybe because I know it's coming to an end, and I'm excited because they're doing season 2. Yeah. So I think the possibilities for me now, because I really truly didn't know if they were doing a season 2. Like I figured they probably would because of this has been a pretty good season, but it very well could be just a one-off 16-part story of this Bad Batch, and by the end of the season, they disband. They get killed. Something happens, and I wasn't sure. Now that I know there's a season 2, there's a ton of possibilities. We might not get closure next week.
Oh, I guarantee we won't.
A ton of things.
We'll get. I can see us getting closure on the Crosshair thing, like because that was the overarching problem this whole entire season was Crosshair turned on them not by choice at the moment, but now it's by choice. So how are they going to deal with that? Will they be able to turn him back to being a ally? Or will they have to kill him? Like it's going to be one or the other.
I said that he was going to die, So, and I still think that may be a possibility.
More than likely,
we'll see what happens. Kevin says Bad Batch would be great if Omega was not in it, but yeah, I've been right there with you. She's a key part of the story, though. I think it's going to be a bigger part coming up soon. We just learned something that's important with her, and like I said, for the first time, she kind of has a purpose like a serious purpose in this one where they had to rely on her. So giving her a chance. She's a character in there. I can't do anything about it. But once again, Star Wars pizza. I'm gonna eat it whether I'm hungry, whether I want pizza. If not, if it's there, I'm gonna eat it just like Star Wars. So
exactly.
So we got the finale next week, and then we're gonna have to find something else to cover, man. Like I think I've got to get down to watching this 2013 Thundercats. We got Transformers.
I'm gonna be talking about that on the Walk the Verse here soon.
Yeah, there you go. We got Titans.
Well, we got Titans coming up. We got What If coming up. We've got
What If's coming up.
Stargirl coming up. Like just because
I forgot about Stargirl. Oh yeah. Okay.
Just because next week ends Star Wars, we've got 3 new things coming out the week after. So
and there's always something great coming out. It's almost like they planned this.
Weird.
It's crazy. Yeah, weird. Even though most of the time when they plan this and they tell us dates, it doesn't end up working out that way anyway.
Well,
as of recently, but
I think a lot of it has to do with they're trying to get what they can in this year while they can,
right,
versus trying to push everything back again. So
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah,
but yeah, man, I'm trying to think. I don't really have anything else to say about Clone Wars.
I'm just a Bad Batch. I'm excited. Yeah, Clone Wars season 8.
Yeah, that's right.
No, I'm excited for it. I cannot wait for next week. And since I'll be off of work, I'll be able to come on here and talk about it again.
Good deal. I'm actually in the position I'm in now. I have every other Friday and Saturday, Sunday off. So, one Friday, every other Friday, I'll have the complete day off. And then the other Fridays, I get off at 2 or 2:30. Oh, nice. So that's really nice. I'll have some time for the next while, as long as this detail lasts. And Kevin says his opinion, he thinks that Crosshair, I'm assuming, is what he's talking about, is going to be the Bad Batch main villain for the whole run. Well, it's possible.
I can see some resolution next episode, though.
Yeah.
Especially since they have him captured. And now I don't think it's going to be like the 4 of them, like Echo, Tech, Hunter, and Wrecker, just standing there with a gun or a knife like to his throat saying change or we're going to kill you. Right. But what I could see happening is that he will not change. He will not join them again, but I think he'll sacrifice himself to save them.
Okay.
So I think he'll die.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then they'll feel bad.
He'll have that Darth Vader moment.
He'll have a bit of a redemption moment. But the thing is, though, he has his ideals, and he's not changing from those ideals. He's still loyal to the Empire, and I don't see him changing that.
Right.
Not saying he can't, but the fact that he was willingly told them we should join the Empire. They will take care of us. And I'm doing this on my own free will because I don't have the inhibitor chip anymore. I think it's going to be he's going to sacrifice himself for his family,
right?
But not sacrifice his ideals. I'm also just throwing things on the wall to see what sticks. So
I mean, that makes total sense, though. It really does. It's actually pretty. I think that might be the direction it goes. Because like I said, I still think that stakes wise. Stakes wise, the main character's got to die. I don't know what's going to happen to the Kaminoans. Is that how you say it?
I think so. Yeah.
Like, are we going to figure anything out about them next?
I mean, they're just quote unquote captured. Like the Empire is just has them in a secure facility. It's no different than having the Wookiees up on the Death Star building that. Like they just became slaves. Yeah. I think, and they're in whatever facility that they're in that they rule over, and that's my assumption.
Okay. Yeah. Like I said, we're gonna find out next week if we get some closure or not. I think we'll get a little bit, but not exactly what I was expecting, especially knowing there's 2 seasons. So I'm excited, and after Bad Batch, we'll figure out what else we're gonna move on to because there's gonna be plenty of choices. Actually, we're probably gonna cover a lot of things after that. So
it'll be a full show.
Yeah. He said, Kevin asked, was there any of the Bad Batch in Rebels? I haven't seen Rebels, but I don't believe so. I don't think Bad Batch has been referenced anywhere but Clone Wars and this show, right?
As far as I know, I don't remember any of them in Rebels. But not saying they couldn't be.
Right.
Like I just don't remember.
Yeah.
Heck, I forgot that Gregor. Not that I didn't forget that Gregor was in Rebels because I remember that. I forgot Gregor was in Clone Wars. So when they came up and rescued him last week, I'm like, oh yeah, I know him from Rebels, and I think Nathan was like, oh yeah, no, he was in Clone Wars. He was in this episode. I'm like, what? I don't remember that at all. So,
all right,
it's highly possible he was, and I just don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of just Gregor was kind of thrown to the side of this episode anyway. They mentioned him.
Well, yeah, they dropped him off with Sid, and Sid's
with
watching
Sid. Yeah. So Ross says here, he says, not slaves, Boba Fett's workers. You might have to elaborate on that. I'm assuming you mean the Kaminoans, because we were talking about them being slaves. Is that I'm sure we'll respond in a minute, but yeah, that's in Boba Fett's workers.
I mean, he has a crew, but
well, let Ross, my friend here, is like knuckle deep in Star Wars. Like so he's got some serious knowledge. So he's probably saying some stuff that I am not aware about at all.
Oh yeah, if he's going like EU books, I have I haven't read any of those.
Yeah. But all right. Well, let's see. He said Disney Slave One ship renamed Boba Fett's ship.
I did know about that.
Okay.
I can't remember. Yeah,
I don't know. All right, well, let's move on. Let's do some. The only thing we got to talk about is Suicide Squad tonight, which, thanks to Ross yesterday, I completely forgot was coming out yesterday, and he mentioned I had nothing to do, and I was like, well, hell, I got HBO Max, free access. I'll watch it at home. So that's what I did last night, and let's do some non-spoiler stuff first, just some overall thoughts, and without getting too deep into it, and then we'll give a warning, because I know I got at least one person in the chat room that doesn't want to hear spoilers until he watches it tonight. But my overall thoughts, it wasn't better than the first one, but it wasn't worse, but it was a completely different movie, if that makes any sense.
By first one, you mean the theatrical cut? The theatrical release.
Yes.
Okay.
Theatrical release. Yes, is what I mean. Because that's all I've seen. So
obviously, that's all anybody's seen.
Which hopefully that'll change one day.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. But
okay.
There were some parts. Well, as I described it earlier, me and Nathan were talking about it. What they did well, they did really, really well. But there was no middle ground. It was either done really, really well, or it was really bad, in my opinion. Like, there's no middle ground in between it. And everything was telegraphed for me. It was very predictable. Like, I called almost everything, and I stayed away from looking at stuff with this movie, from studying. But when I was watching it, I was like, that's going to come back into play. And when it does, I called it. I was like, well, here it is right here. So, and maybe that's just me and the way I'm looking at it with an analytical eye, as opposed to just trying to enjoy the movie, which is why I need to go back and watch it, because I'm not condemning the movie by any means. But I wasn't as impressed as I thought I was going to be watching it last night.
Okay.
What about you, man?
I really enjoyed it. When I saw it in theaters last night and then watched it again today at work, I walked out of the theaters. I'm like, this was definitely better than the theatrical version that came out in 2016. And you have to say theatrical version, because I'm not saying that we're going to get an air cut, but I would like to see an air cut. It won't be a true air cut, obviously.
You don't think it'll be like Zack Snyder's? They won't go full balls to the wall like that?
No, they'll do the movie that he made and that he wanted to make. What I'm saying is that his true cut was left on the cutting room, well, not the cutting room floor, left on the storyboard floor, because in the storyboards, the eye monster things that Enchantress made were supposed to be parademons.
Right. So his story, as opposed to Zack Snyder's, where it was already filmed and pretty much done.
Yeah,
he didn't get that far.
The parademon was not even allowed to be made. Like, that got dropped before filming even started. So we'll if we get the air cut, I'm here for it. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna love it, probably. But this movie, we're talking about the Suicide Squad. I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. You said that you saw that you saw you pointing out when things were going to come back. I mean, it was obvious. Like, when they panned over to a thing. Sorry, they panned over to a thing and focused on it for like a quick second,
they mention it more than once, you know?
Yeah, like the javelin. Like, of course, that javelin was going to come into play at some point in time. It hardly made a big deal about it the whole entire film. So
yeah. Well, and like I said, it's not a movie that I definitely want to go back and watch it again. I'm not going to tonight because I've got to go to bed as soon as it's over. But I'll probably end up watching it again tomorrow. It's not a movie that I want my daughter to watch because I was like, she wanted to watch it, and I was like, let me watch it first, and then I'll determine whether, because she watched Suicide Squad for the first time without my permission, which was, when at her age then, was something I wasn't wanting her watching. But these are two totally different movies.
Yeah,
two totally different movies. And, Ross raises a good point. He said it was a fun movie. You can't pick it apart too much. And you're absolutely right, Ross. And that's why I need to go back and watch it again. And I'm not hating on it. There were just things that I was disappointed in. There were some characters that I loved and I thought were spot on. There were some scenes that when they were done, I'm going to bring it up when we talk about it, that I was like, wow, that was awesome. I'm so glad they did that. Then there was some stuff that was on the screen that I was like, oh my God, get this off the screen. I can't stand it. When is it going to be over? And I'm going to talk about those too in a minute. So
please do.
Yeah. But, overall, like I said, I would recommend watching it because it's not a movie that you're going to watch and hate that you watched it.
No.
Go into it with the mindset of you're going in to have fun, because it is a fun movie, but it's a completely different movie than the first one. This is kind of what I think is DC's answer to Deadpool.
So, that's interesting. Because I figured that Birds of Prey would be basically more DC's answer to Deadpool than this.
Well, I kind of look at Birds of Prey and this movie kind of in the same realm. They're
interesting.
Well, they're slightly separate from like what a regular canon DC story is. Like when we get the Flash movie, I don't think we're going to see this kind of stuff in the Flash movie.
No,
that's what I mean.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about this a lot today, and this movie reminded me of G.I. Joe Retribution, the second live-action G.I. Joe movie.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why. We get the first movie, we get that cast of characters, and that cast of characters was fine. The movie itself was fine.
Mm-hmm.
Second movie comes out, G.I. Joe Retribution comes out. We don't have Channing Tatum. We don't have Marlon Wayans. We don't have the chick that plays Scarlet. I can't remember her name. Like, we have nobody. Well, we get Channing Tatum for like a second, and then he dies. And then now the whole cast is, The Rock, and I can't remember her name either. Like, the whole cast changes.
Mm-hmm.
This is very similar. We get, 4 returning characters with Harley, Boomerang, Flag, and Waller. But the main cast, outside of Flag and Harley, is all new characters.
Yeah.
So it's that's my thought of they're the similar type of movies, and they're totally different sides of the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. Like the first movie, while it had some serious moments, still tried to play around with jokes from time to time. This one seemed there was jokes in it, but they weren't taking those jokes seriously. Like the first one, the jokes happened and they were at like serious moments to where they shouldn't be happening.
Right.
If I'm thinking that right. I may be speaking out of turn. It's been a while since I watched
there were
first
some.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, there were some.
This one, when some jokes happened, they seemed, and I'm referring more to Peacemaker and Bloodsport.
Mm-hmm.
Their joking around from time to time seemed earned because they both hate each other. They were picking on each other.
Right.
For most, like the one scene when they tear apart the one little camp, and they're having like a killing contest, and they're just that reminded me of Hobbs and Shaw with The Rock and
Cena, or no, The Rock and Statham.
Yes, Jason Statham.
Yeah,
when they're like looking at each other as they're fighting to keep the people in those one rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Like that reminded me of that because they're just, well, I killed this guy, and then I killed this guy. Well, I killed this guy. It's like, okay, I see what you're doing, and I like it, but then I'm also was happy that most of John Cena's comedic moments was in the trailers, like the whole starfish meaning butthole thing, or the whole eating a whole island of dicks. Like, I'm glad that was in the trailer, because had they been in the movie, it would have felt. I'm sorry. Had I just seen it in the movie without knowing they were going to be coming at some point in time, it would have not been out of character, because that character is serious,
kind of stupid serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I knew those moments were coming, so I knew to expect that level of stupidity coming from him. And then, later on, we get him just showing up in his tidy whities when King Shark was about ready to eat Ratcatcher. And it's like, okay, that fits with that character. Yeah. From what we know of that character, yeah, that works. So it was a nice balance. And I think that, for me personally, that balance worked for the entire movie. Because of what happens at the end. Well, at the end, he has his own mission that Waller gave him that screws over the whole team. So I don't want to get into too many spoilers just yet.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think Cena and Idris Elba's banter and their on-screen chemistry in this movie was spot on. I think that they were great. Like I said, there were some things about this movie that were done that were great. That I was like, man, that's awesome.
That whole team, that the A squad. Team 2, or if you will, that team worked. Like just the Bloodsport, Peacemaker, Ratcatcher 2, Polka Dot Man, and King Shark. Like, and then obviously Harley and Flag show up a little bit later, and those two already have a relationship and a friendship, and they actually meshed well with this team. Obviously Flag and Bloodsport had. They worked together in the past, so they were fine. And because Harley was with Flag, she kind of melded well with everybody.
Right.
So the team, that group worked out, and I think it was believable. Versus the first team that lands on the island, where it's like, all right, so you're all gonna die. Like, it's pretty obvious you're all gonna die.
Yeah.
And nobody on that team was really compatible with each other
or prepared for anything. They were there for the purpose that they served. Basically.
Yeah. Yes, they're cannon fodder.
Well, let's get into it, man. So anybody who's watching right now who doesn't want to know, we're about to get into spoilers. We're full out. I'm talking about everything I saw.
Yep.
Real quick, Ross said in the chat room, he said he was thinking it was DC's Ragnarok the whole watch. I get that. The only reason I said Deadpool instead of Ragnarok was because of the nudity and the gore and the language.
Which ironically,
that's why I would say more Deadpool.
The language, man. The scene with the scene with Bloodsport and his daughter. I can see that.
Yeah.
The scene with Bloodsport and his daughter in prison, when they're just for like a good 20 seconds yelling "fuck you" to both each other, to right back at each other. It's like, okay, sure, why not?
Well, hey, you know what? We're starting the spoiler section right here, and we just had one drop out of the chat room, so I'm sure it's probably Kevin. I think he was about to go watch it, and he didn't want the spoilers. Let's start right there, because that was one point that I had that was a problem with me with this movie.
Okay.
One, not only did they basically just copy and paste Deadshot and his story and like his problem and what you're going to hold against him, and just paste it with Bloodsport, but the first image you see of these two together is, like you said, them screaming "fuck you" back and forth to each other for, they both said it like 7 or 8 times. They're yelling it.
It's just back and forth.
They hate each other. She doesn't like him. He doesn't like her. And he's made it very clear that he doesn't want her. Okay. Then immediately after that, that's what Waller threatens him with. Like, he walks out of the room, and that's what Waller threatens him with. And all of a sudden, oh, well, I can't let that happen to my daughter. I'm like, dude, you just said "fuck you" to your daughter like 15 times and told her you didn't want her.
Daughter, like,
well, it's there's
still his
that,
blood.
Maybe okay, but I guess I just know. I just wouldn't say it to my daughter, I suppose. But then at the end, like, his daughter acts like that, and teenagers think differently than adults do. So maybe as an adult, you might realize that. But his daughter was pretty serious. Then at the end, she sees him on TV, and she's smitten with him, and she's like, "That's my dad."
Yeah.
Oh, that's my dad.
He saved the world and fought out giant kaiju.
Like,
no, I get it. I do get it. The jump back a second. I am almost positive, and I'm probably off base here, but I'm almost positive this story was written for Deadshot, and like it was going to be that, but but then I think they couldn't get Will Smith back because he was.
It was scheduling errors. I think he still wants to play the role. I think, but it was scheduling errors. Yeah.
I hope he did an amazing job as Deadshot. So
and Idris Elba did a great job as Bloodsport. Like I love both.
Bringing in Bloodsport was great. Mm-hmm. Is it almost a copy paste of the Bloodshot story and origin? Yeah, maybe. But I think they tweaked it enough to where it's its own thing.
Right.
It's problematic, but
it just seemed too similar for me.
Correct.
But it's something I can look past. I get it. Like I said, this movie, I feel like, as opposed to the other movie, is a lot less story driven than the last movie. This movie is about a mission. Do the mission. And this is what happens on the mission. The last movie is very story driven. Hey, what's up, buddy?
What's up,
welcome,
guys?
Came just in time for the spoilers of the Suicide Squad, man.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if we were still going to be talking about that since I know Sarah hadn't watched it today.
Well, she hadn't shown up yet, so
okay, cool.
And we already talked about Bad Batch, so she's too late. Okay, Sarah, I love you,
dude. Yeah, I just want to. Can I say something real quick on Bad Batch before we jump onto Suicide Squad?
Yeah, why
not? Although it's been pushed to like a season 2 now, like I think I knew that this was going to be a 2-parter finale.
Mm-hmm. I think you called it last week.
Yeah,
I think you said that. Yeah.
I will say this though, this whole like I was always a killer, on Crosshair's part, like I'm sorry, I kind of call that. I kind of call bullshit. Like, like it's just with that mentality. Like, I've always been a soldier. I've always been the bad guy, and you never knew it. Like
I think a lot of it is the chip brought that out, and then when he took the chip out, it's like, well, this is my life now. My family deserted me.
Right. He has that betrayal feeling fueling it.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna stick here with these guys because they're actually giving me a purpose.
Like, I kind of understand the whole, like, you left me. Because, like, as soon as he started talking, I was like, Crosshair, don't you dare say some stupid shit like that. And he did. And I was like, God damn it, I hate you. Because, like, at one point, I don't hate. At one point, I really don't like that kind of storyline. Because of the way the season has been going, it's like, oh, look, you've been waiting for this moment of, we've all been waiting for the moment of when we finally go back to Crosshair, right?
Yeah.
And to leave it for the very ending finale and then it not even be resolved, it be a cliffhanger for possibly season 2 to like finally resolve, I'm just like,
well, and I said earlier, I'm pretty sure they're going to resolve the Crosshair storyline at the end. I think it was Kevin who said he thinks Crosshair will be the villain,
the overarching villain for the whole season. Yeah,
the whole show.
Yeah,
so I think it's going to be resolved by the end of the next episode. I think he's going to sacrifice himself.
Yeah, but I think either one's possible. I'm more in Joe's camp because I called. I think he was going to die. I said he was going to be the villain throughout the end, and it's going to culminate to the end. I think that's what's going to happen. I'm right there with Joe, but I can see it being like, well, maybe they try to redeem him at the end of the season, and the season ends on them not being able to, and him being the big bad for next season because he was kind of like the background bad for this season.
Okay, yeah.
I think maybe he takes a step into the big role on the next one. I'm not sure, but
we'll definitely see
Joe's camp
in a week. So
right,
yeah.
Well, hey man, we were just talking Suicide Squad spoilers. We'd already walked into the spoilers, but just give me your overall thoughts on it real quick, and then we'll and then I'll tell you. Well, we'll go back into the Waller stuff. So
I don't know how many of the GUA listen to Super Silver Servants as far as the podcast wise because they're not here in the chat. I will say this because we are going to review it on tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to go live. So, Joe, I guess you'll hear my first thoughts about this because I've been very coy without saying anything in the GUA chat because I wanted to see.
We want to make sure everybody listens. Whatever.
Exactly. We wanted to make sure everybody has watched it, but I also wanted to keep it as a shock value for some people.
Oh God, you hated it, didn't you?
It was a long first hour. a very long first hour.
What?
A very, very, very long first hour. And I will say this, as far as like, oh, what are my first thoughts about the film? I would put this on par with Zack Snyder's Army of Dead.
Oh, interesting.
It is not a bad movie, and it is not the greatest thing since sliced bread. I think that the reviews really overhyped it. And I will be completely honest, I did not laugh until about the 30-minute mark of the entire movie.
Okay.
And the unfortunate reason why is, and again, just like we said on Black Widow, Joe, somebody in GUA could possibly try to argue this.
Yeah, Florence Pugh's not in this movie. What?
We saw the entire movie in the trailers.
Okay.
Except for one technical plot twist, we saw everything in the trailers.
Okay. And you know what? I'm going to kind of elaborate on what you're saying there. I kind of see what you're saying, Clay, and I'm a little more on your side with this one.
Yeah, I'm not gonna disagree with you on that one, but we saw the major plot points in the trailers.
Mm-hmm.
There's things that happen, like story wise, that happened that wasn't like the whole militia resistance. I had no clue about
actually, that. The freedom fighters.
Yeah,
you take that out of the movie, it's the same movie.
Well, yes,
it is. Well, that is kind of it's kind of a pointless story. It's kind of it is. I feel like it is.
You take out one gimmicky, jokey part, and that's it. If you get rid of the freedom fighters, you just get rid of the dick measuring contest between.
That was a good part, though. That was fun.
You could still have that part and just make them enemies. Make it like an enemy camp.
You could do that for the entire film and take away the freedom fighters. Still the same movie.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that.
Do you know why? It would be a moment of like freaking oh my god, I forgot their names. Legolas and Gimli, like how in the Lord of the Rings, how they're always like having a contest.
Every battle they were having the contest.
Yeah. You make it just like that. Same movie. Take away the freedom fighters, it is literally the same movie.
Yeah, that's a really good point, I think, man.
And I have my hottest take.
But that's okay. So, but that was the freedom fighters were their quote unquote first battle.
So the freedom fighters, no, the freedom fighters was not the first battle.
No, not the first battle. That team's first battle.
Yes.
So you needed to have the
slaughter of the camp.
I was gonna say, would you really call it a battle if they just slaughtered?
Wait, do you know what I mean? Actually, I have some issues with that scene, but it's not because of the dick measuring part. My issues were we're gonna kill this. We're killing this guy right here, but this guy right here is watching him die.
Is watching it and doesn't move.
It doesn't do anything.
So there's one in particular moment, right? There's one in particular moment where I believe it's Bloodsport kills two people, and then the camera pans,
and there's three guys looking at them. Yes,
three guns in their hands.
No, they were in like a pose as if they were supposed to be charging, but you could tell that they were just standing there.
Yeah. It there was some problems.
There was some continuity issues with that. So there's that.
But what I'm saying is that scene needed to happen because what about Rick Flag? Like Rick Flag gets captured by who we think are enemies. Turns out are freedom fighters, and then they go to rescue him.
But they could have just, like I said, they could have just replaced that with enemies, and they rescued him from the enemies.
They could have been legit enemies, or he gets separated from the team, and they meet up in the city
randomly.
Yeah,
it happens. It happens.
They did it.
I don't see that. But that's Harley. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it make sense for?
Why would you want to do it twice?
Ooh.
I don't know.
Touché.
It's their continuity issues. Because again, I will say my hottest take.
Let's hear the hottest take. Yeah.
Besides from the gunshot that Harley used, the pistol, to kill the president,
which was cool,
which was funny, yeah. And then you kind of learn the continuity of Harley Quinn of like, hey, I've learned who I am as a character. Other than that, you get rid of her character, it's the same movie.
No, I disagree. Javelin. I mean, I guess you could have had anybody else carry that, but she's the Javelin. She's the main reason they defeat Starro at the end, or one of the main reasons.
I know, but they make it out for her to be like the perfect person to hold the javelin. But the joke is almost as if like anybody could carry it, but she doesn't know this whole reason, right?
Well, no,
and
she's
like the joke is the reason.
Yeah.
The joke is at the end, the reason is to kill Starro.
To get into Starro so the rats can kill Starro.
Right.
But if you give anybody the javelin,
maybe. I mean, you're probably right, but I mean that you can. I guess we can switch anything out in any of these movies, and kind of make it work.
Oh, and I have it right here. Mine and Heinz Deadpool.
Yes.
Right on every single one except for one.
Okay.
I guessed every single death correctly except for one.
Okay. And you know what? Now that you're talking about this and you're talking about the javelin with Margot Robbie or with Harley Quinn, I do want to walk into the next part that bothered me because we talked about, for me, I didn't like the Bloodsport and his daughter narrative. It bothered me, but I can get over it. The other thing about this was it was insanely predictable. Like insane.
Yes.
And maybe it's just me watching this, but like I knew immediately, I was like, okay, Ratcatcher is going to swarm this giant this giant starfish. I know the javelin's going to be what stabs him in the eye, and I know Harley's going to be the one that does it.
Exactly, like the one scene where Starro's dancing around, and then you see Harley climbing up, and it's just a straight path to the eye.
Yeah, you see the perfect.
No, I'm saying I knew it way before that. Is what I'm saying. Like I knew, I was like, okay, this is what's going to happen. Whenever the second that John Cena mentioned my bullets are smaller, I was like, that's going to come back into play. And the second I saw both of them shoot, I was like, this is the moment it happens right here. Like there were some things I saw about it, and I was like, this is just really, really predictable. Like something's going to pop up behind this person. This person, when Polka Dot Man died. I knew it. I was like, oh, look, he's happy. Something happened. Here we go. Bam, he died.
I'm a
was it? Okay, I can't remember that from the trailer.
That is the perfect line to die to.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
And I was hoping he wasn't going to, but
that was the thing for me is I felt like a lot of the things were really predictable. There was the only thing I didn't see, a couple things. I didn't see the Cena twist coming.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't see Flag dying. Yep. And I didn't see Boomerang dying either.
Oh, I 100%.
He died really early and had like, did he have like more than 2 lines in the whole movie?
Yeah, he had like 3 in the helicopter.
Like,
he made a comment about Weasel, and then when Blackguard was like walking towards the enemies, he was telling him to shut up.
Yeah, and then he was talking to Harley like for a few different times on the helicopter. So,
but that one really surprised me. I didn't see that coming.
I didn't. It's not that I didn't see it coming. I was hoping it wasn't going to happen because I liked Captain Boomerang. I really did. I like Jack Courtney as Boomerang.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Mongal jumped on the helicopter and was chopping up the trees, and they all hit him, and I'm like, no. And then the helicopter like chops into pieces. I'm like, oh,
yep, he's done. So
that sucked. I was sad.
Yeah, like I said, for me, and like I think Clay, you were kind of, those are what your points you were kind of alluding to, is everything just seemed predictable. I knew it was going to happen. Some things, 30, 40 minutes before they happen, I was like, this is going to happen at some point. Some things in the moment, I was like, okay, this is what's happening. But I mean, I guess it's like I said, it's my first time viewing it, and I look at everything with a really analytical eye. Sometimes maybe I'm overanalyzing it, and I need to just go back and have fun. Joe, you were telling me you go in and have fun the first viewing and then you analyze. Yes. I think I do the opposite. I think I go in and analyze and then I go back and have fun.
So every time I see a movie, and it was especially before the pandemic when I could go see movies because I had the Regal Pass. So They cost me like 50 cents to go watch a movie. Well, 18 a month, but whatever. I go first time. It's to get the excitement and to just get the nerd in me settled. And then on the next viewing, it's all right, where did they go wrong? What did they do right? What fun Easter eggs can I find? For this movie alone, there was one that I found that. So at the very end in the credits, just before the end credit scene, they've got a little dedication to the Toxic Avenger, and I'm like, what the? That doesn't make any sense. But then I started thinking about it. There was a scene in the bar where Peacemaker bumps into somebody. And I'm like, well, that guy looks very familiar. And it's a literal blink and you'll miss it moment of Lloyd Kaufman, the creator of Toxic Avenger. So I'm like, okay, nice.
I noticed that one. The very first time.
I noticed it today when I was watching it.
Yeah. But I have quips with it. I'm not gonna be that asshole that's just like, this is the worst movie ever.
Right.
I hope that it bombs, blah, blah, blah. No, because people that are saying that are completely stupid. I think there's gonna be a sequel. I don't want Idris Elba or Harley Quinn in the sequel.
I think Harley's going to be in everyone. I think Harley's going to be the. I
disagree.
You don't think so?
Yeah. Well, especially at the end of this movie when Bloodsport is like,
makes the
hey,
deal.
We go free. You don't mess with us.
That's a good point. Yeah.
That's why I don't.
But wasn't she freed at the end of the last movie too?
But she was freed by Joker, and then she got captured.
There's
like it's.
But that's the problem I have, right? There was no like
legit reason why she should. I will give you that. There was no reason why she should have been in it, except for the fact that it's Margot Robbie, it's Harley Quinn, it'll sell tickets.
And it's Suicide Squad.
I don't know, man. I think that they're making her out to be, and rightfully so, because she's a badass character, as a absolute badass in this universe. And
I'm not saying that that's not what I want, but what I'm saying is for continuity of these films. Like, I don't want to open up the second James Gunn Suicide Squad movie with seeing Bloodsport and Harley Quinn on the first mission.
Okay.
I need to see Task Force X capture them. Because I think it's a big cop-out to be like, sucks for you, we caught you again, and we never get that story. It's just like,
that makes sense. That would be pretty good.
They're just in there. But I also think, and I said this on Snell's Thought Bubbles when he reviewed Suicide Squad last night. I think that Peacemaker in the Peacemaker series on HBO Max is going to be recruiting for the next Suicide Squad movie.
Makes sense. He became the new lead. He'll become the new leader.
Yeah.
Part of me hopes we'll get maybe Rick Flag isn't dead.
Oh no,
I don't know. You saw the glass through the heart.
I know he's dead. I just hope
we have Lazarus Pits, right?
Bring him back.
Well, not only Lazarus Pits, but there's a movie that comes out pretty soon, as in next year,
that can change.
That may change everything.
Yeah,
that's a very, very good point.
I like Joel Kinnaman. I was really my three disappointing deaths. The three people that died that I really didn't want to die: Boomerang, Flag, Polka Dot Man. Again, Boomerang and Polka Dot Man, I knew were going to. It was guaranteed they were going to.
Right.
I was definitely surprised that Flag died. Like that one shocked me.
Yeah.
I was confident that everybody on my list was going to die except for Flag and Bloodsport, because I was like, when I was doing the Deadpool on DC Alliance, I said I want them to have the balls to try to kill Harley. Like, to at least fake out.
So
like no. Like
that.
if they were to do to Harley Quinn like they did to Peacemaker, to have people think that she died, fucking do it.
See,
Get people pissed off to only be like, oh, fuck, you got me. Like, that's a smart one. Everybody knows the really stupid contractual agreements that fucking The Rock, Jason Statham, freaking John Cena, Vin Diesel, all of the action heroes have. Oh, I can't lose a fight. I can't die.
Yeah.
You know, that's stupid because then there's no consequences for any movie that you make. I'm sorry. There's none. Like, I know that the end of every single movie that you do, you're going to be the winner. Like, and I know that because of that, you are not going to be able to lose enough to grow as a character. Like, that's just, but with Peacemaker, with John Cena's character, I said in the middle of our viewing, me and Abby were watching it, I said, oh, fuck. When the bullet went straight into his freaking neck. I was like, James Gunn did it. That's fucking awesome. And then
until the end credit scene.
And then they were in the hospital, and before you even saw John Cena's face, I said, fuck. And Abby's like, what? I was like, John Cena's alive. And the camera pans to him, and I was like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Emily thought that was Rick Flag because she was watching at work. She was away from the phone, so she couldn't really see his face clear enough. And so we were having a conversation afterwards, and she's like, no, it's like Rick Flag was the one that survived. Like, no, that's Peacemaker. Like, that's who it was. And she's like, no, hold on, I gotta check it out.
Yeah.
Oh, this is totally, oh man.
Y'all want to hear something even funnier?
Huh.
I didn't watch the end credit scene and didn't even know about it until I was talking to somebody about it the day that had seen it. And I was like, well, Peacemaker died, so I guess that means his series is going to be a prequel series. And then somebody was like, you didn't watch the end credit scene, did you? And I said,
Greg,
nope,
how many times have we fucking said this on this freaking show?
I think that's my thing.
On HBO Max, right?
Yeah, watching HBO Max, you can scrub through that.
I know, because like we were watching the entire credits. I was watching the credits, and I was like, wait a minute. I know there's an end credit scene. I don't know why I'm waiting, and I just fast forward it all the way to the end, and then press play. I was like, there we go.
I'm gonna go do that because I definitely need to go do that.
So I was in theaters, and we're sitting next to a couple guys, my buddy and me, and the one guy gets up, and he's like, "Is there an end credit scene?" And he's like, "Well," the other one's like, "Oh, I'm gonna look," and I'm looking myself, and I see that there is one, and I'm like, "Hey guys, is there an end credit scene?" They're like, "Okay." So the guy sits back down. We're sitting watching, and the scene happens, and the one guy's just like, well, that really wasn't worth it. And I look at him, I'm like, you asked if there was an end credit scene, not if it was worth it. He's like,
right.
Good point.
Yeah, that's true. And well, I mean, the implications of it apparently are tremendous. I mean, that maybe, does he know there's a series coming out?
Maybe, I don't know. Like, the funny thing was, as soon as I saw John Cena, and I in the theater, I'm like, and this is how you get a Peacemaker TV show. So he may know now because I said something out loud, but like my friend who was with me, he didn't know there was a Peacemaker TV show coming out, but he's also not into it and not in the circles that like we are in.
General audience kind of.
Yeah,
he likes
exactly,
it, but general audience. Okay. Well, hey, look, I want to get to talking about Cena and Idris Elba because I thought their characters were great. And I want to talk about some things I like because I've been kind of shitting on a little bit of things that I didn't like so far. And I still have a couple things I want to bring up, but I want to shift a little bit and talk about some positive things.
Okay.
We were talking about Margot Robbie a minute ago. I think her purpose in here is to be a badass. And that's why she's one of these team members that's on the team. The scene where she escapes, where she's being hung and shocked, and then she chokes the guy out and escapes and walks down and is shooting and taking everybody out, and she gets the javelin. That's a really well choreographed scene. She is a fucking badass in that scene. I don't want to say it's as good as the Daredevil hallway scene, but it's similar to that. It's her being a badass, really, really well done fight scene. Probably one of my favorite scenes of the movie. I rewound it and watched it twice. So like, man, that was fucking awesome.
Emily had said while she was watching it that she cried apparently because this was a movie that did not sexualize Harley Quinn. And
no, it didn't at all.
And
I still
so
love the character. I mean, I'm a
it.
guy, of course. I love seeing that, but I still loved the character so much. You know?
Yeah. Oh no, the character's badass. But this was a movie where, you know, in the first Suicide Squad movie, we've got Harley dependent on Joker, to the point where that's her life. In Birds of Prey, we see Harley after that relationship has fallen apart and now she's on her own. This movie gets Harley Quinn as a strong, independent woman who don't need no man.
Right. Yeah. Right. And I loved her character in this. Like, I thought she was some of she had those moments we were talking about earlier that there weren't a lot of in this movie where it's just comedy placed at the wrong time. But I think that's Harley Quinn's character. You expect her to say something stupid and funny at the wrong time because that's just the character she is.
Yeah, if you've read the comics, I think that's totally her.
Yeah, I think that the rooftop scene with the Thinker, I think her comedy there was spot on.
But I'm walking back and forth.
Yeah. Like just those random, like, if you cough or sneeze without covering your mouth and blah, blah, blah. Like, those parts were funny. I'm not going to say that they weren't. When I made those comments about if you literally take her character out of the movie does not like hit a point of like, shit, what do we do now that Harley's not in the movie?
Right.
Like the movie can technically still go without her.
Yeah, correct. You are correct in that.
Yeah.
Like her comedy is, that's her style, and there's, you can't, it's not that you need to have it in the film. You could go without it, and then all that does is sprinkle some levity into a tense situation.
Yeah, and one thing with her was the fact that like, what was I gonna say? Her moments, like you said, the freaking when she escaped her imprisonment or whatever. I think that was very much an homage to Birds of Prey when she freaking went into the police headquarters. And she freaking just wrecked havoc there. It was in the same limelight, and that's what people loved about Birds of Prey. That moment, that was all over the trailer. I think it was a part of every single trailer that came out for that movie.
Right.
And rightfully so, because it showed her in a moment of like, hey, I'm going to be a badass. And like you said, that's what Margot Robbie is making this character.
Yep.
Especially in the moment of when she shoots the president, she does say, like, hey, you're a really nice guy, RIP to the thing between your legs, but like, I'm a different person now.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be manipulated and all of this other stuff.
Yeah, I taught myself to see the red flags, and you are having red flags. Like, it's just...
And the most important part, she's even doing that when she doesn't think anybody's coming for her. She's all alone.
Yeah.
So that's another part of that, which is big character.
That's just her.
Yeah. Ross
and
said
she was confident enough to get out too.
Quinn.
Like she was confident enough to, even when, like you said, she didn't know anybody was coming to rescue her. She rescued herself. Like she's just
a badass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I will say that I loved, like, when she does leave that hallway, she's killing everybody, and like the flowers and birds are flying around, the animated stuff. Yeah. Like there was 3 or 4 different times where she's done out of the hallway. She's out of the building, and it pans over and it's still back there.
Right.
Like, it was pretty cool. It just shows that the fun that Harley is,
Yeah, like I said, it's my favorite scene in the movie. I've got around it and watched it twice. It's like, wow, that's really, really cool. So I really enjoyed Harley Quinn. I think Margot Robbie's a perfect casting, like Ross was saying. I mean, just some people just nail the casting. It's a perfect casting for me. It's like a Henry Cavill Superman. You're not going to get better than that. Let's see. I really liked Flag's character better in this movie than the last movie. There's a definite attitude change with the character, and I liked him a lot more in this one. He was likable. Genuinely upset that he died. Last movie, I couldn't have cared less whether he died or not.
Well, last movie he was too obsessed with June Moon. So
right,
yeah. Well, I also want to say this. People have said, "Oh, it doesn't really matter if you watch this movie by itself or if you watch both of them." The moments of Harley Quinn's character, you actually need to see the first Suicide Squad movie.
Well, it's the only real connection to the first Suicide, other than Waller, right?
Well, other than Waller, but there's two specific moments. There's technically 3. There's 3 specific moments in this movie that you don't understand unless you watch the prior movie. So the very first one, she sees Boomerang die, and she reacts.
Yeah,
it's
Yells
not
out
like
Boomer,
he's like she could have reacted to anybody's death, but she reacted to Boomerangs.
That's true.
That is a connection to the first movie.
She reacted to Javelin, but that's just because they had a moment on the plane.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The second moment was right after she rescued herself. She got emotional over Flag wanting to rescue her. They had a moment of consoling each other or whatever.
Yeah.
So after
because they were friends in the first one. Yes, I agree. I see where you're going with.
Yeah, because they were friends in the first one. The third moment was at the very, very end when Harley and Bloodsport were like just
Harley
by
and who?
themselves. Did I say Bloodsport?
Yeah,
you said Bloodsport.
Yeah, it was Milton, Harley and Milton.
Yeah, Harley.
Shut up. By the way, I don't know, Joe, if you listened to DC Alliance last week.
And when you were like, I don't know who Milton is.
Somebody spoiled that for us.
About him dying or just the character?
Because
I said you talked
about it.
Because
we were like, who is Milton?
Yes.
I will tell you right now, nobody who has not seen the movie will know who Milton is.
Right. Here's the thing.
That person must have seen the movie and then was like, hey, they're talking about Suicide Squad.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to, joke around with them. So I think that person was trying to troll with us.
Yeah. Because I definitely went, you guys brought that up, said something about Milton. The minute they mentioned Milton in the movie, I'm like, oh, that's Milton.
Same thing. And like my first thought was, oh, that's Milton. My second thought was, oh,
that's
Milton.
Yeah.
Like I was like, fuck, that got spoiled for me. Yeah. But Bloodsport and Harley talked at the end of the movie, and they were talking about how Flag were both of their friends. You don't really see the friendship too much. You see it a little in this movie, but you understand it more because of the experience that they shared in the first movie.
Yeah. Those are all good points. Yeah.
One other thing with that, James Gunn said a special thank you to David Ayer in the end credits, or in the end credits.
Okay.
So they are paying homage to him creating these characters on screen.
Right.
So I will highly recommend, for some reason, if you haven't watched these movies and you're listening to this review, watch both of them.
Yes.
I will say, I don't know if we've gone too much into her character as a character, but Viola Davis as Amanda Waller, still being a badass here. I had two moments of like, I don't know. The first moment was when she like was just cussing up a storm with them.
There at the end, when she got knocked out. Yeah.
Right before she got knocked out, my first thought was, this kind of seems like, hey, this is a rated R movie. Let's go all out. And say a couple F-bombs. Like, I know, like, from the reviews that I have listened to, they're like, oh man, that was such a powerful moment. She was really angry and like she really let loose. And I'm like, I can kind of say whatever fuck that I want, and it's the same thing.
See, and like, I agree with you. I can definitely see your point, especially since at the very beginning of the film, when Savant like freaks out and tries to go away, she's like, Savant, go back to the thing. You're not a last warning. Fuck it. Hits the button.
Yeah.
He blows up.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of the mission. Mission's over now, and you don't have to save these guys. Like, there's no reason why you're not hitting the button.
Oh, okay. So I have three things wrong.
Oh God, here we go. Okay. So what's number two?
The second one is actually from that moment. So, and some people have talked to me about it now, and I can kind of see it, but I still call it bullshit. There is a kaiju-sized alien attacking a foreign city. And Waller's like, we can leave it alone. She is part of the U.S. government.
Yes.
That is tasked.
Well, she's a
part
of the U.S. government.
but she works for the U.S. government.
Yeah.
That is tasked to do all sorts of different things. One of them and I know I'm getting into like properties of like comics and stuff. They've helped like cataclysmic global things end.
Mm-hmm.
And for her to just be like, and this is a kaiju that could possibly take over the world, not our problem.
Well, that was the whole premise of starting the Suicide Squad in the first movie, was to stop a Superman from turning evil or a cataclysmic ending, and that's what they tried to do in the first movie. So you're right. Yeah, I guess it's a good point.
And then for her to be like, not our problem. No, Waller, it is your problem.
No, actually, it's not, because what is Task Force X? It's off the books. It is not part of the government. If they get found, they're disavowed. They're not there because of American people. That's what they say.
They were found.
But when they described them on the news, they described them as former criminals.
Yes.
Is what they said, former criminals.
So they didn't say where from. Yes, you can easily look into it and be like, oh, well, they're from America. Cool. These Americans came and saved this island from this kaiju. But
I know, but still,
she is pulling out. Sorry, I keep hitting the mic. She is pulling out her team because at that point, in her eyes, Jotunheim is gone, and all of the material, all of the information, the hard drives that linked the U.S. government to working here on this island, creating this kaiju, are gone. So in her eyes, this island made this big giant monsters. Well, the government will get the big leagues to come in. You guys don't have to do shit. Your job is done.
And that's what. So we reviewed this at Batman News Weekly. So if you'd like to hear some of my more thoughts on that, go listen to that. But my co-host said that exact same thing, saying this is a universe that has the Justice League technically in it.
Yes.
So if something like that were to happen, they could have easily walked away and then like Superman could have shown up, which he said for a split second, when Starro was like actually out and like freaking destroying everything, for a split second, he thought, are they going to bring in somebody from the Justice League?
Yeah.
Whether it be Superman or
Wonder Woman, or
it makes sense what you're saying. Yeah, totally makes sense.
And that was a rumor for like the longest time. People thought that the Suicide Squad wouldn't be able to take out Starro. They're gonna need somebody with superpowers. Which in my mind, if he was tactical enough, Polka Dot Man could have fucking destroyed Starro.
Right? That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
if he had gone for more than just a leg, if he had gone all out for all over the body.
Yeah. His original power is that his polka dots on his costume could turn into any device that he wants. That's his original power. Now, I will say, them changing it for this movie makes more sense.
Right.
It worked.
Makes it a little more practical for what's going on. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I did like this more. And in my mind, like every single time he was using them, like his powers or whatever, and I saw everybody like basically disintegrate, I immediately knew. I was like, this is how they take out Starro. Yeah. And I was wrong. But he could have fucking took him out.
It looked like that's where they were going. Yeah. I want to mention real quick, we were talking about Viola Davis and Amanda Waller. I love her as Amanda Waller. I love the character. Yeah. No, she does a great job. However, I was a little irritated with the whole way they did Amanda Waller in this movie. Do you realize if you go back and count, every single person that she spoke with in this movie defied her, and she only killed one of them?
Yeah.
Every single person she spoke with in this movie defied her.
No. So Joe,
her crew, the Suicide Squad,
if you watch
Savant, they all defied her.
If you watch the very first Suicide Squad movie, even if it's not Ayer's cut, go watch it. The convoluted part of that movie is that they're there to protect Waller, to get her out of the building. Yes. Right? That's what the mission becomes. Waller then says, these people know too much. And she kills every single person in that room. her own employee knocks her the fuck out. And
They're
at the end of the
betting on
movie,
the job. Yeah.
and at
all
the end
kinds
of the
stuff.
movie, she just gives them the dirty eye. No,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, I didn't like the way they did that.
That ain't Waller.
They gave her. She gave them Peacemaker. They have to watch over Peacemaker.
Okay.
And I think Peacemaker's going to wake up and kill him. I don't know. Why the hell not?
No, because they're in the freaking HBO Max series.
For how long?
It doesn't matter.
For how long?
They could be in there for one scene, and that's just your connection to Suicide Squad, and then they're gone. They're dead.
I doubt it, but
I doubt it too. But that's not the point. I'm trying to make an argument here with nothing. Okay, give me credit.
I'm sorry. They made her more of a badass in the first movie.
Yes, I agree. She sounded like a badass and somewhat acted like a badass, but her resolution was not badass in this movie.
Yep. And we have seen her be more of a badass in every other reiteration of the character, except for what should be a 96% rated movie. And she was not as deadly as she said she is.
Yeah. Okay, I got to bring this point up right here because this is probably the most bothersome thing of the whole movie. I wish it wasn't there. I think it was stupid. And every time this character was on screen, I just wanted to kind of blank out. I couldn't stand King Shark. The comedy was really stupid and predictable, and it didn't. I don't think it looked good. I don't like where they took this character. This where Ross was talking earlier about this being the DC's version to kind of a Ragnarok. If you're saying that you're taking a great character and dumbing them down to an idiot and making them really stupid and not very powerful, then yeah, they did that. And I hate that because you could have really made a really cool King Shark. Instead, you decide to make this really stupid, bumbling idiot. And it just didn't work for me. He tried to bring Groot into the DC, and it didn't work for me. I couldn't stand. I don't know how y'all feel about it, but
I don't think it was Groot. I think
it was a combination of Groot and Drax.
It was a combination of Groot and Drax. I will 100% say that. The only moment that I really enjoyed King Shark's character was because there was like heart to him, like with the combination of him and Ratcatcher. Like the sentimental moment of like, hey, would you really eat your friends? And like he's like, oh, I don't have any friends. Like there's a connection there, and there's supposed to be something that moves the audience forward with them as characters of the Suicide Squad. But the only real part that I enjoyed with King Shark was I can wear a disguise. And then he fucking
that was fun. Like that was funny.
That was a little funny.
That one got me. And I will say, like, a lot of the comedy in this movie did not get me.
Yeah, I agree. Some of it did. Some of it was really good. Even the Dick's joke, the Beach of Dicks jokes, I heard that before. It still got me pretty good. I was like, that's pretty funny.
And that's one thing I want to talk about. Because I saw most of this film within the trailers, I didn't laugh at any of those punchlines because I already knew them. I already saw them coming.
Well, see, like I was telling Greg before you shut up, I'm not joking. I didn't laugh at all. Oh, shut up.
So
anyway, so what I was saying before you hopped on, that helps set because we saw those, the Island of Dicks and the starfish butthole joke. It helped show you who the character of Peacemaker was going to be. So like when Peacemaker shows up right when King Shark was about ready to eat Ratcatcher, and he's there in his tidy whities just standing there like that's whatever racist. Like yeah, like that okay. that cemented the character for me. I'm like, okay, this guy is comedic at times, but he knows when to be serious, because then right after that, I mean, yes, he's having the dick measuring contest with Bloodsport with the Freedom Fighters, but there at the end, what's he do? He turns around and he becomes very serious because he's on a different secret mission, and he became a complete. He was a badass already.
It was a 180 of his character. I will say that, yes.
Mm-hmm. And good.
One thing I loved was, the minute we meet Bloodsport, it's Waller talking to her people saying, "Oh yeah, he's this. He was created by his dad. Did this, did this," and then she takes Bloodsport to go meet his team, and she says the exact same thing about Peacemaker that was about Bloodsport, and he's like, are you having a laugh at me? Like, are you kidding?
Literally, he can literally do anything I can do.
Yeah,
and he's like,
but
I can do it better. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was just a fun beginning jab for both of them.
Yeah.
You know,
I did not belly laugh at these jokes. I did laugh at maybe one or two. I said I didn't laugh until like 30 minutes in. The 30-minute part was at the Freedom Fighters camp when he shoots the guy in the shoulder and Bloodsport's like, that's a non-lethal, it doesn't count. He's like, oh, that's a combustible bullet. Yeah, combustible bullet. And Bloodsport says, show off. And he's like, well, the only reason why you show off is because it's cool.
Yeah, it's only cool when it's fucking cool. Yeah, like
and then Bloodsport says, fuck, he's right. I laughed.
Yeah.
Like that was the first moment. And like,
man, I laughed when Peacemakers walks by the guy and just axes him real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good. Like he was getting a massage with an axe.
That was after the fact. That was after he did the combustible bullet. Nathan says Deadshot was great. Oh wait, I mean Bloodsport. They were the exact same character.
That lingers back to the play right before you got on. That was my first complaint. Was it was just a copy and paste. His background story, everything. Yeah.
And you might know this. You might actually know this a little bit better than I would, because I think I'm just going off some old information. But this was supposed to be Deadshot, but then Will Smith had
originally
he was contractually obligated somewhere else, so they just tweaked the story, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm-hmm. But I still think they could have changed it a little bit more to that, but that would have been a simple change. I feel, especially when you're going to film with a whole new character. But it is what it is.
Honestly, like if you want to move some characters forward, why couldn't Harley have the out? Bloodsport has the out because of his daughter, but like if you really want to grow Harley as a character, like why doesn't she have an out? Like,
because Harley has nothing to hold against her as leverage. That's why Bloodsport was the out, was because they could hold her daughter against him as leverage.
That's what I mean though. Why can't they? And this would have been, I think people would have been pissed off at it. But like if you give, even if you even give a name, don't even cast anybody. But if you say, oh, I can kill Pamela, people will be like, oh, fuck.
I wouldn't even go there. I'd go with Cassie. Give an established character that she has an attachment.
Oh yeah,
to.
Yeah. Okay. If they really want to connect it to Birds of Prey, you could have easily done that as well. Mm-hmm. And Harley had an attachment to that character because she fucking let her go. Mm-hmm. So like. Well, not only let her go, they fucking left in
they left town.
Sunset.
She became her apprentice. Like
so you could have done something like that, or fucking. I know Taika ended up being Ratcatcher 1, but
that was cool. That was cool to see.
Yeah,
I genuinely thought he was gonna be Starro's voice.
So I had no idea. So when I saw his name in the credits, because I forgot that he was actually in this movie. And I'm like, oh yeah, Taika Waititi is. I wonder where he's going to be. Didn't see him. We get the flashback with Ratcatcher 2.
In the window first.
Which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I didn't recognize him immediately. So like the first scene we see is him shooting up. It wasn't until he was laying down dead. I'm like, oh wait, that's Taika. Oh, he's dead.
Yeah. Huh. Well, here, I wanted to bring this up too, because I've only got a couple more points. I crossed out almost everything on the list. A couple more points here. And it's this right here. Nathan says, I have no love for a Peacemaker show. Well, Nathan, while you said earlier, Nathan, you agree with me mostly, I think, on this movie you do. I am excited for the Peacemaker show because of the bright spots of this movie. I thought John Cena, even though, like I said, maybe the comedy didn't all hit, I like the character and I thought he did a great job. John Cena, Idris Elba, Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie, those are characters I want to see back. I would have taken everybody they had in the end just fine if maybe you trade out Polka Dot Man or Ratcatcher for Boomerang, and it would have been damn near perfect for me. Well, actually, King Shark would have been gone first. Yeah. But I think that they focused around Cena and Idris Elba in this movie, and that was what they should have done because they were the strongest actors in this movie, other than Margot Robbie, who had, I guess, another lead role in this movie. And I think they shined with their role. Their on-screen chemistry is great. I want to see a story of Peacemaker. I think John Cena, I haven't been super impressed with his acting, and although this wasn't an award-winning acting performance, he played the role well. Like I like him in this character, so I'm excited.
I've been liking Cena's acting a lot lately. I liked him in Bumblebee. I enjoyed him in F9. I liked him in this, so I'm also excited for a Bloodsport show.
You mean Peacemaker?
I'll watch it day one because whatever.
Well, the thing is, a lot of these wrestlers, man, you got to remember part of wrestling is being an actor.
Well, so, one of the big things that a lot of people go back to, especially on Cena's part, because Cena isn't so freaking The Rock. He's taken the route of the action hero. He's always taken that part. Like ever since he started acting, he's done more of the action hero too. I mean, he was the Tooth Fairy. He was the game plan of the Disney movie. Like he's done those, but so is Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel did the pacifier. So with Cena, though, Cena took the comedic route, and a lot of people have always said comedians, for some reason, when they are pushed to go onto the serious role, they're able to do it pretty well. We've seen it in Supergirl with John Cryer being Lex Luthor. Mm-hmm. Here, when John Cena makes the turn, when he is like, "Hey, we can't let this go out," when he's facing off against Flag, that wasn't like an Oscar-worthy performance, but you believed it, and you're like, "Oh,
because he's got his assignment from Waller, and he doesn't want to kill Flag. Like he's even pleading with him. He's like, I respect you. Please just give me a hero. The thing."
He called him a hero like 3 times because one of the big things about him, and he said it all throughout the movie, is that he cares about peace. He cares about I think it was James Gunn or even John Cena himself in that B role, like at Fandom. He is basically a douchey Captain America.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he will see American heroes as genuine heroes. He's fighting against one of his heroes.
Well, he says in this movie, I love it too. This is one line that made me laugh that he says is he's talking about liberty and freedom, and he'll fucking kill anybody to get to ensure
it. Man, woman, or child.
Man, woman, or child. And then Ratcatcher looks at Polka Dot Man, and she's like, "I thought you were the crazy one," and he just stares off into the distance. I am.
Speaking of Polka Dot Man, speaking of Polka Dot Man, how fucked up is it that he sees his mom as everybody, and then in the dance club and nightclub, so dancing with his mom? Like, don't get me wrong, he was having a good old time, but boy.
I will say this: I've already told Abby that I'm gonna say this in every review that I do.
Oh no!
We have a very unique relationship with my mother-in-law. She is not the nicest person. And so as soon as he says, "Oh, well, I just imagine they're my mom and I can kill him easier," my wife laughed so loud and so hard at that moment. It was great. Yeah. And not only that, when they actually show everybody as his mother the very first time, I was not expecting it. I wasn't. He's like, because he gives the heart, like he gives the very dark story of like, "Oh, my mom tried doing experiments on me and my brothers and sisters.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
some died, of them were great.
Lived. Yeah. Like, which kind of makes you think like, are
there
some
more
superheroes? Yeah. No. Are there some superheroes that are Polka Dot Man's brothers or sisters?
Right.
Probably.
Yeah.
In this
continuity of the DCEU. Like, I think that would be kind of cool.
It would be.
So like you throw that out there, and then they're like, "So where's your mom now?" And he goes, "Everywhere." And the camera pans, and you see everybody as his mom. Oh God,
I love it. I love King Shark.
That one got a laugh out of me,
where he sees the butterfly and starts trying to get it.
Look, Tony says in the chat room, he says the Marine 12 rounds aren't quite comedic. He says he's slowly starting to be in the comedic role. Started like
Yeah,
34
no.
years ago.
So yes,
those aren't his first movies, though.
They are.
Marine
The Marine is his first movies. He tried to do the action hero stuff. It wasn't panning out for him. So then he took the comedic route. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
While The Rock did the action hero with his very first performance being in The Mummy 2 as the Scorpion King.
Yep.
And then he tried to do comedian stuff just because they're like, hey, you can do this. And then he's like, no, I'll do the action hero stuff. And it still panned out for him. With Cena, he just had to take this other route before he could get to Peacemaker.
Right. That's
just the way.
The WWE helps them in acting and everything. I'll be the first to say that go back and watch Walking Tall. It's one of The Rock's first real acting movies. That's I think maybe his best movie. Like that's a movie where he first really shows some acting chops. It's semi-action movie, but it's very drama driven. Like it's great movie.
Based on a true story. So
is it? I didn't know that.
Is that the one with Johnny Knoxville?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
As his partner.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I like that
really,
one.
Really good movie. And that's the reason why I thought Johnny Knoxville could play a good villain. I actually threw him out there as a Joker for a long time back because he's got some acting chops too. And he can definitely get the crazy roll down.
Then you think about him in, what was it? Men in Black 2 as the villain, as a sidekick villain. It's like,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was more comedic than anything.
So underrated. He's very, very true. That's a really underrated movie. Great movie.
See, I don't know if it's underrated or if it's just a product of its time. Because it came out
kind of unknown. It's old.
I don't know. It's 2000. Yeah, it's like 2003, 2004. It's old. So it's not really in people's repertoire.
Wheelhouse of movies right now.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It came out. It was promoted like crazy. It had its run, and it's gone.
You know what? I'm going to bring that up to Katie for Slice of Film because I bet she hadn't seen that one yet.
There you go.
Probably.
Slice of Film right there.
It's a good one. It really is.
Yeah, it really is. Like I said, I think it might be Dwayne Johnson's best acting job, or it's the moment where I looked. It's the moment where I looked at him as a serious actor. I was like, wow, this guy can do it.
Joe,
I don't know.
Say if you fucking say San Andreas, I swear to God.
No, I was gonna say Doom.
Doom. Okay.
Oh God.
You knew where I was going.
Everybody took their licks, right? But so just running back to what Nathan was saying, I'm excited for the show. I'm gonna watch it. Obviously, it's DC. Once again, this is like Star Wars and pizza. It's just if it's in front of me, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna consume it. I may not like it, but I enjoyed this character. I don't know how much we're gonna see of Bloodsport in the future, but I did enjoy the character. And if we see him again, I wouldn't be.
I think that they're gonna try to get Will Smith back.
I think I would love to get both of them back. To be truly honest with you. I think they both did great jobs with their roles.
See, the problem is, and I'll say the controversial thing since Nathan's not here. The problem with that, and especially with WB, they're not going to have two black guys on a team.
No,
it's just not going to happen, unfortunately. I would want it.
WB won't have the same character in two different properties, so. I mean, I know Deadshot isn't anywhere right now, but
they won't even have the same character in a different multiverse. They're not going to have the same character in the same movie. Clay, stay out of my lane.
Well, you're not here. You're being a parent.
They won't put them in the same movie, unfortunately.
You know what? If they did, it's not going to be a long. I could see happening. One, if not both, just being like a cameo. Just they're in it real quick. They're trying to capture them, and then they get away.
Because that's
where I could see it.
The problem with them being almost the identical character is that it would be the exact same story of Bloodsport and John Cena. They would be a dick measuring contest again.
Yeah,
and I don't want to see that again. You know,
we don't need to. We got enough of it here.
And
it worked out. It worked out. That scene was played out perfectly for this movie. So we don't need to see it again. Uh-oh. What's your...
No, what, right here.
Well, I didn't see it. I mean, I've seen that movie, but it's not what you think.
Right.
Whoa.
And
Whoa.
while I get what you're saying, Clay, I think them not being in the same movie leans more towards them being the same character rather than them both being black. I mean, I'm not going to say that doesn't like it's not something that goes on in Hollywood, but I don't think, especially with the characters on the acting scale of Idris Elba and Will Smith, I just don't. I mean, I don't know. I don't personally feel like that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just feel like it's more because of the exact same character.
Yeah.
You know, that you wouldn't see him in the same movie. But who knows? They also could both weigh a hefty price to be in a movie. They're both big actors.
For sure.
So that might be another reason why they may not be in the same
especially
movie
try and get them both together. Like,
right,
one or the other.
Right.
And to harken back again to the Peacemaker show, I'm gonna watch the show coming out freaking January of 2022. So in 7 months, or well, hold on.
Wow, 7 months.
It's August, September, October, November, December.
You did enough math
January.
last week.
5. I know we did way too much math.
We didn't do any math. Well, yeah, we did some math.
Yeah, we did. We did math. We did a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I was winning. So
5 months until the Peacemaker show. I'm gonna watch it because I want to see if I'm right, because I always like it when I'm right. I really do think that
I can't roll my eyes hard enough at that one.
I do think that Peacemaker will, in fact, be recruiting.
I agree. I can see that happening, especially in a TV show. You can establish lower tier characters and then move them to a movie.
And you have a lot more time for character development. Yeah.
When not only James Gunn has said that there is some more stuff in the works, but Hamada himself is like, hey, James Gunn is going to be working on other stuff.
Do you think it's going to be I mean, it's almost guaranteed he's going to do a sequel, but do you think he'll have something else in the works?
So I think that it's very unfortunate, but I don't think Gunn will do it, but I wouldn't be surprised if Hamada is like on the verge of asking Gunn, hey, can you run the DCEU behind the scenes? Like, you're not going to get credit, but like, you know, all of Marvel's secrets, you know how things can run organically.
I don't think they're trying to follow Marvel.
But they've said it themselves. They said it themselves. We want to follow in the footsteps of Marvel. And we kind of want to do what they did. They've said that, and it's in a Variety article. They've said it themselves.
Okay, I mean,
now
I think maybe as far as success and building such a universe, but not necessarily in the same way as the way.
And I thought they were just finally done with that bullshit. But
we, as audiences and fans, don't know what's going to happen in a year when Discovery has full reign over DC and all WB's properties.
This is true.
Like, things can change, but while they are still under the regime of whatever they're still doing, like, this isn't like a tinfoil hat. Like, James Gunn is gonna be the Kevin Feige of the DCEU. Like, no. I'm not gonna be running this like into the freaking wall or anything. But I do think, like, hey, you were a big part of the MCU's success after 2014. What can we do to mirror that?
Well, and
that is very clear that if you look at everything past Guardians of the Galaxy in the MCU, their comedic beats of every movie match Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians was a page turner for the MCU. Yes. They started to mimic a lot. Well, and then, especially Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok is the majority of the comedic stuff you see in that was because
you can bring in a different audience with the comedic stuff.
You can get more family oriented, and that obviously you'll get big bucks there. But I don't know. And more to your point, Clay, the fact that Gunn is done with Marvel after Guardians 3, like he's a free agent. He can,
and the fact that he is very, very like jabby with Marvel right now.
Well, they fired him.
Yeah.
They didn't fire him. They fired him. Like, there's no quotes about it. They fired him. Like,
Then why is he still doing a movie?
But then they rehired them almost. They fired them because of stupid comments.
No. They fired him. Back up. They didn't rehire him immediately. It was the noise that rehired him.
Well, again, that's why I'm using air quotes, because I think it was just all posturing. I don't think they fired him, but it's like, you're fired, but not fired.
We'll call you back when Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is ready.
You think it was more of like, hey, we have to do this to make people
happy, to appease the stupid crowd. Like,
I think.
Especially since could have been, especially since Batista was like, you guys lose Gunn, I'm out. Like, and then I think shortly after that, a couple of the other guys was like, yeah, we're leaving too. So you get Gunn back, we'll stay. And now, obviously, with this being his last film, they're all done too. So like, I think it was just a stunt.
Yeah.
But that being said, WB jumped on the opportunity when they could. They were able to make a great movie. I think a really good movie for this Suicide Squad for DC universe. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I sound like I've been ragging on the movie a lot, and actually I have all the points that I want to make cross off except for one, which is a negative point, but it's just one thing that didn't really make sense to me. But all in all, this movie, it was a good movie. I wouldn't tell somebody to not watch it. I don't feel like you're wasting your time watching it. So
I gotta make my letterbox before tomorrow, so get those rankings.
I mean, if you watch all the trailers and then watch the last hour of the movie, I think it'd be more worth it. But
I mean, then you get to miss it on the awesome Weasel, which, by the way, was another thing I was like, oh
man, and
that didn't look good.
Like, can you believe that all the?
I don't think he was supposed to will good. I don't think he was supposed to look good. Like everybody, I've seen a lot of people crap at the Weasel CGI. I think they did it on purpose.
See, I don't think it was CGI. I really think he shaved his brother Sean, shaved all of his hair off, and just like glued this funky hair on him.
I think majority of it was practical, except for his face. Like that's what I think.
Yeah,
I think majority of most of this movie was practical.
Oh yeah,
it looked like
even the rig. Yeah, even the rig for King Shark.
Well, yeah, because it was the one guy, the helper.
Dude with the dude with the glasses.
He wore that. He was the stand-in,
the mocap. Yeah.
Yep. Which was pretty awesome.
All right. Well, just the one other thing that bothered me was the very end of the movie. Okay, there Waller tells them to leave and forget Starro, just come back. They all turn around, they're going to do it, and then they have their little epiphany, their moment, and they decide they want to go back and save this Corto Maltese, right?
Mm-hmm.
They get to Starro and they start fighting him. Then they just start. They didn't just start shooting, but they start shooting and killing all the people that they in turn went to go save.
Yeah.
Now,
like I get they were under attack. I get that, but like they don't even attempt to do anything. They just start shooting them and killing them, slicing them up and everything. I'm like, these are the people you came here to save.
If it was Ratcatcher killing it, it would make sense because she knew, per the Thinker telling her, that
they're all dead.
As soon as the star gets on you, you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
Bloodsport doing it, I will agree, makes no sense because unless Ratcatcher told him, which
he did,
possible. It
might have been something we didn't see, and you know what? I didn't even think about the Ratcatcher and the Thinker telling her that.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, we didn't say anything about Thinker. What y'all think about that character in this movie?
Yeah, he was fine.
He was okay. Yeah. I think it was a missed opportunity to have him play Mr. Freeze because that was my first guess when they said that he was cast in this movie. I was like, he would look like a
Peter Capaldi as Freeze.
Yeah.
Bring back Arnold. What are you talking about? Chill.
Exactly.
Chill.
No,
oh dear God.
Maybe because I have Arnold in my head for Freeze, and that's on me.
Animated series.
Yeah,
like the suit and everything.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'd like that look a lot better.
That Mr. Freeze, and you make it
maybe
in a live action. I think that works a lot more than what you tried to do in Batman Forever.
We need Batman and Robin. We need a new live action Mr. Freeze. Although, to be honest,
yes, we do.
I like that they are. Well, I say they're pulling characters that we haven't done yet, but I mean, we're getting Riddler in this one, and we've already had Riddler in forever. So,
But based on what they're doing in the Reeves universe, if they're gonna do a Mr. Freeze right now, that's the universe I want to see it in.
Yes,
like I want to see it in that universe because I can imagine a really badass one.
Yeah, oh God, yeah. But I'm still on the train that we need like a Mad Hatter or a Clayface.
Yes.
Something we haven't done yet.
Yes. A Mad Hatter would be great. Let's just do a whole
I saw somebody cast Mad Hatter as like, who was it? It was, and I was like, oh shit, that's like spot on. I think it was Rainn Wilson from The Office.
I could see that.
Who played freaking
he was in Jaws, right?
No. Shoot. Who was the guy? John Krasinski's like nemesis in The Office.
That was Rainn Wilson. You're right.
Yeah.
Dwight. Yeah. Dwight as the Mad Hatter.
Yeah. Like I could see that. It wasn't Jaws. It was the movie. What was the shark movie with Jason Statham?
Oh, Megalodon.
Yeah, he played
the Meg.
Movie.
The Meg. Yeah.
The Meg.
Yeah. So
I like Rainn Wilson. I think he'd be a good one, but my issue is that the Jervis Tech I know is like 4'5".
Right, and he's like over 6 foot tall. He's a big guy. Yeah.
Good point.
He's a big guy.
No, yeah, you're
technology. You make freaking
you get Sean Gunn as the as a bodysuit being a short person. Yeah, no, I got you. Okay,
yeah,
it's true. It's true. I mean, they could just do a White Knight movie and bring back Leto and have all that. You can have Hatter and Clayface and all that in there. Be great. Let's do it.
See, that's the Freeze I liked. Like Mr. Freeze in the White Knight comic was pretty awesome. So okay. Okay.
That was a big squirrel right there.
Yeah.
but no, that honestly is what I was talking about there is them killing those people. And I guess it's kind of explained what y'all were saying here, explains
but
a little
it's
bit.
Explained, but it's not explained. Again, because
but it's at least somewhat of an explanation I wouldn't think about.
It's said in the movie, but not to the person doing the killing.
Right. Therefore, I'm just going to make it work for me. I'm going to assume that she passed that message along.
Okay.
Somehow or another briefing. But yeah, that was all the stuff I had on my list. I didn't really go over Flag too much. That death really surprised me, and it'd be great to see him back one day. But once again, with that glass through the heart and actually showed it, I don't see it happening.
But Lazarus Pits, magic,
Pits. That's right.
We're in a world where, and like what Clay said, we're getting Flashpoint in a year.
Mm-hmm.
That so literally changes everything.
Yeah. Well, dang, they could go off killing a whole bunch of people in the next,
Exactly. It'd make no sense because, why are you back? Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm back because a little boy got mad and hit a wall.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's all I got to say. I'm gonna give it a 1 through 10 grade for me.
Ooh,
I'm gonna give
grading
it
tomorrow, Clay.
I want to know. Back if you want to.
I'm going to watch it again tomorrow before the.
I'm gonna watch it again
review.
Either tonight or tomorrow before the review. I will be completely honest. I was supposed to be doing homework right now. I was like, nah, I'm gonna jump on and talk to some people. I will. Should I say my rating now or should I say it for DC alone?
But that's the thing. Are we rating it tomorrow?
We are going to rate it tomorrow.
Okay.
I say if y'all want to save it, that's fine.
Well, because I don't want to save it for one and not give it for this show either. But I'm trying to think.
You know what?
If a third viewing will change my opinion, So
I don't think a second viewing will change it. It'll just
that's for you.
More to the conversation for me. I have already put my letterbox in. Like I already
see, and I haven't yet. So
yeah. So people, I will say this. The reason why I think this movie may be a little overrated is because people were saying this is the best movie since Wonder Woman. Best DC movie since Wonder Woman. And I was like, calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
After seeing that movie, I was like, calm the fuck down.
Wait, which Wonder Woman?
Snyder's Justice League.
The first one, right?
The first, yes, but the first Wonder Woman.
Okay.
So in my letterbox, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 10. Yeah, we have 10 DC movies out right now in the main continuity of DC films in the DCEU. It ranks Well, actually, you know what? Because I was kind of thinking about it today and talking with Abby. It ranks 7 on my list.
Okay.
Are you counting Zack Snyder's?
I'm counting Zack Snyder's Justice League, but I don't count the movie that doesn't exist.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
Because I'm like, there's 11 here. I don't know where you get 10 from. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I actually didn't do a letterbox, but I can tell you what I'll do is I'll give you a grade, and then I'm gonna watch it tomorrow, and then I'm off tomorrow night. I might hit y'all up and see if y'all got a little room on DC Alliance for an extra opinion.
Yeah, we
and see if my grade changes. Okay, see if my grade changes because it might. So I'm gonna give it right now a 7 out of 10. I don't have a letterbox grade, but I'll have that tomorrow. I'll rank it in my DC. But right now, as far as 1 through 10, I give it a 7. It was a good movie. Like I said, I'm going to watch it again tomorrow, tomorrow as soon as I get off work, and hopefully I'm going to enjoy it more. But for me, it's a 7, and I'm hoping that tomorrow when I talk to y'all after I watch it again, however it be, that it's a little higher.
Okay.
So we'll see.
I am not going to give it a grade at the moment. What I will say is that for me, it's above the first Suicide Squad, the 2016 theatrical cut.
Okay.
It's above Wonder Woman 84. Obviously above Justice League.
But is it above?
Probably.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll say it's. I think it's above Shazam. And I would probably put it above Birds of Prey.
Okay.
Oh, see, so there's only one.
You're right. You're right in the middle then. Yeah, it's a.
Yeah, I think I definitely say in the middle somewhere. But that being said, I haven't done my letterbox yet. I'm gonna rewatch it again tomorrow at some point in time, and I should have a definite where it sits. But and then I'm saying probably I know it's a definite above 84, Suicide Squad, and Justice League,
right.
Whatever, throw Justice League out there. So it's definitely above 84 and Wonder Woman 84 and Suicide Squad. The Shazam and Birds of Prey. I need another rewatch before I can actually definitively say where it's going to be at.
Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, I think all in all, we have fairly positive reviews of this movie. I think we'd all recommend it. We're all going to watch it again, and we're all going to talk about it more. So, for anybody who's watched this, and depending on how you feel, if you've only seen it once, I'd recommend watching it again. It could change your opinion if you didn't like it. It may even change your opinion if you did, and bring it down. Who knows? But two viewings is always a good idea for movies like this. I do it the opposite order as Joe does, but it's definitely a need, because now that I know that I'm not as keen on the story with this, I want to go back and watch it and see if I can have fun with it. And if I can have fun with it, then it's okay. Whereas Joe, like you said, you like to have fun with it first and then go back and see. So, we'll see what happens, man. I'm going to watch it tomorrow when I get off. Yeah. I'm opening. I got to be up at 4 a.m, but I get off at like 2, so I'm excited.
I'm at home. I'm going to be cleaning out my garage, so.
Yeah, I still got to take care of that Yellow Jackets nest. Yeah, they got me again the other day. It's underground. It's underground is what it is. So,
how's the recovery for your wife?
Oh, she's doing well. A few stitches. I think she got 4 stitches and some antibiotics and some ibuprofen. So it wasn't too bad. Really, really quick emergency.
It looked bad, but
it did. It did. That was in the moment when it was still blood. Got cleaned up, and it was like not trying to downplay it at all. I'm sure it hurts like hell, and it was, it was bad. But luckily, 4 stitches fixed it up. So it wasn't anything more serious than that. But I appreciate everybody's concern. Thank you.
Yeah,
but
of course.
Well, fellas, y'all ready to get out of here?
I think so.
Cool deal. Well, Joe, where can I find you, buddy?
You guys can find me on Twitter at _actually_. You can find my new show, which is part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance, at it's called A Walk Through the Multiverse. You can find it on Twitter at WalkTheVerse, and that's on the Geek Ultimate Alliance every other Thursday. You can also find my other show, Comic Book Rundown, on Twitter at Comic Rundown, and on Instagram at Comic Book Rundown. I've got to get better at that. I mean, I know, Clay, you've got like 20 shows that you talk about, but I'm still in practice.
It's a lot. It's a mouthful,
Well, so, adding in a whole new segment, I gotta figure out how will the flow go.
It adds on up real quick.
Yeah.
So, Clay, where can they find you at, buddy?
Of course, you can always find me at FanboyClay on Twitter. Go ahead and go to that link tree right there in the bio. You can find the links to all of my shows, that including DC Alliance, Batman News Weekly, Comic Book Legion podcast, Weird Science Marvel podcast, Weird Science DC podcast, now guest hosting on the Weird Science Manga podcast, as well as the Ranger Alliance podcast, which is also a part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network.
Oh, yeah, I'm part of that too.
It's a lot of stuff.
See? Yeah. I forget.
7 shows.
Yep. That's one for every day. I commend you, sir. That's taking a whole lot on. So. Well, you can find me at the Bad Daddy 52 on Twitter. Check me out at SCS Podcast 1. Control that handle too. Or here live every Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. Audio drops Mondays on your podcaster of choice. I also guest on a lot of different shows. I'm on the C3 Panthers podcast here and then. Check us out Friday nights. We do a hangout show from 7 to 9. I was on that before I got on here. And then I like to guest on a bunch of different stuff. I might show up on DC Alliance. I've got a slice of film coming up. World's Finest True Believers. Like I'm just everywhere.
Rundown reviews coming up too, buddy.
Huh? Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've got everything. We got a date.
Yes, we do.
Looking at you
definitely.
too, Clay.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, we do.
It feels like quickly. But seriously, check out everything we're all in. It's we're all connected somehow or another, and it's a bunch of really good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, but all right, fellas, let's go ahead and get out of here. And I guess next week we're gonna come back. We'll try to figure out this week what we're gonna cover after Bad Batch. So if anybody listening, throw some suggestions out there. I mean, obviously, Stargirl's coming out, Titans coming out, stuff like that. We still got to finish we still got to finish our Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy too. We just gotten so busy with that, but. Well, maybe we don't have to think of anything. We got a lot of stuff to cover. But all right, well, I'm getting out of here. I'll see y'all later. Thanks once again, and to everybody else, y'all keep pounding.
See ya.